Hi there, Ira Carroll here. I just want to share a quick story with you. It's called A Walk in the Park. A few years back, I was hanging out with my nephew, and I have a couple of nephews who are just beautiful and fun and awesome to play with. Well, my nephew Tony and I were planning a trip to the park. So, I create this a whole agenda. We're going to get to the park at noon. We're going to ride the slides. We're going to jump on the merry-go-round. We're going to do the teeter-totter. We're going to do the monkey bars. We're going to do all these things. We're going to have a lot of fun. And so the day comes and the trip is planned. I've got this agenda. And so we're on our way. We start walking to the park, and the park's only about 8 blocks away, so I figure it should take us maybe at the very most 15 minutes to get there, 10 or 15 minutes at the very most to get there. So me and my nephew start walking, but it wasn't 1 block into our walk where he discovered this huge patch of sunflowers, if you can imagine. And he was just so drawn to this patch of sunflowers, so he goes over and walks over to the sunflowers, and he goes up close to him, and he kind of pulls one to him and sniffs it and smells it, and then he pulls one out, and he's just, if you can imagine, just he's with it, just present with it. He's just gleaming just joyfully at those little yellow petals and looking deep into that brown core, and then he plucks, one of the petals off, and he starts kind of massaging it and feeling it in his hands, and just he's so present with it. In the meanwhile, I'm sitting there, a little frustrated because we've got our agenda. I've got my agenda at least. So anyway, Tony gets finished with the flower. He puts it down. He says, "Okay, let's go." So we start walking again, and it wasn't, another block later that we run into this pond of ducks, this family of ducks, if you can imagine. And so Tony he's drawn over there. He runs over there, and he gives these ducks his full attention. And he asks me, "Uncle George, can I get a piece of bread?" And I'm frustrated because we have this, this agenda that I've got set up. We've got this agenda to tend to. And so I give him, a couple pieces of bread, and the ducks are sitting there just kind of flapping and quacking and eating the ducks right out of his hand, and it's so beautiful. And but I'm sitting there, I'm a little bit frustrated because, again, we're off our mark. We're off our agenda, we're behind, and I'm just like a little frustrated, and I want to go, but I let him play. So after about 10 or 15 minutes, he plays with the ducks are happy, he's happy, and then he says, "Okay, let's go, Uncle George." And so we start walking, but it wasn't another block later that one of our neighborhood friends were throwing a party. And it was a front yard kind of circus theme party where there was this one clown, and this clown was making the balloon animals, twisting and turning, and so the neighbor asked, does your kid or your nephew want to come play with us, and does he want to get a balloon animal made? And Tony, of course, screams yes. So he runs over to the clown, and he stands there in front of the clown, and the clown is twisting and turning, and my nephew's attention is just like this, just kind of really gently fixed on this clown as the clown kind of twists and turns, and he ends up giving him a balloon dog, and this awesome, cool little dog. And Tony's like, "Yeah, thank you," and he's so excited. He plays with it, and he's throwing it in the air and messing around with it. After about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we're on our way. And again, I'm frustrated because we're off our mark. We're off our agenda, my agenda at least. And so we begin our walk. We're like 3 or 4 blocks away, but it wasn't 1 block later that this family was selling this litter of puppies, tiny little newborn puppies. And so Tony hears the little barking and the scrapping, so he runs over there, and at this point I got my picnic basket. I'm frustrated. We're like a half hour behind my schedule, and so he runs over there, so I follow him over there. I'm walking, and he picks up one of these, these beautiful little puppies, and he holds it to his heart like this, and he's petting it, and he's kind of just loving it up a little bit. And I'll never forget this, but the little puppy looks up at my nephew, and he licks his nose. He licks my nephew's nose as if he were to give him a little kiss. And so he gives him the kiss, and, I'm just sitting there watching him, but still a little frustrated because we're behind on my agenda. And he looks at me. Tony looks at me after that little kiss, and he says, "Uncle George, this has been the best day ever. Thank you so much." And I saw the love just gleaming from his eyes. And as he said that, I dropped the picnic basket. And along with that, my frustration dropped as well. It fell away completely. And I realized something in that moment. And even though my agenda was getting to the park and fulfilling what I had planned, I was using the walk as a means to an end. And Tony, he was using the walk as a means for exploration and discovery. And I realized something really powerful in that moment. I realized how powerful it is to enjoy the journey and not just be in it for the destination. You know, we never made it to the park that day. And as for the puppy, well, his name is Carmel. And if we had never stopped along the way and explored and discovered and appreciated the journey along the way, he would have never met his little best friend. So take care, God bless, and enjoy the journey.